Good morning, Calvert football family. It's Coach Sneed here, and I'm coming to you guys from vacation, and I hope that you guys are getting a well-deserved break. I'm so excited. This season is just upon us. I mean, it didn't think like it would ever get here, I'm sure, for those seniors and many of these other guys who are brand new to the program, but it's here in front of us, and we're ready to roll. And so I wanted to lay out some things that I've already shared with you and then go into greater detail about some other things that you may not be aware of or know. And I just want the first recap the summer and how well it's been for us and just the awesomeness, the uncommon greatness, if you will, that our kids have achieved. We just finished up Shepherd Team Camp and we had 43 young men go to that, and it was just a phenomenal experience. I tell you what, the bonding was awesome. Chemistry is just there. And then, of course, the practices were great. We were treated with some really great weather, which allowed us to be on the field a little longer, which allowed us to cover more, young and old, because we had some young guys there. And of course, we had some seasoned players there. They thoroughly enjoyed it and they got a lot out of it. And I was so proud of them. The coaches did a phenomenal job. And of course, it just meant that we came home, not just ready to rock, but also ready to go to sleep and get some, much deserved rest, which is what we're at right now. Maybe some of the players are getting together with some of the coaches on a personal level, doing some things just in a small, intimate, type situations. So that way they can cover some things that maybe that they need to cover or get some loose ends taken care of. We're just spending time with them, but nothing official is going on right now. Not until we give out equipment on August 9th. Before that, we actually had our youth contact camp, and both for the youth contact camp and the football camp, we were in a 2-year hiatus. We hadn't done stuff for 2 years, and we were proud to be back. And that youth contact camp was just wow. Wow. We had over 60 camp coaches, counselors, and other volunteers that worked with us to help facilitate a camp for over 65 young people, both cheer and football. And how wonderful was it for us to really truly have a community out there? They included football and included cheer and included counselors and helpers from all different areas. Family, friends, folks from other sports. Just a proud moment. And I couldn't be more proud for the way everybody put in the time and energy to make sure that it was a great and celebrated camp experience for our young people. I'm getting back surveys right now from the folks that participated in it, and I'm hearing just great things. Certainly, they're excited to come back next year as well. And so that stuff couldn't have happened without the greatness that's shown throughout our young people. And so what we did is this past Thursday, we celebrated that and we went bowling and took over 23 young people bowling who could make it. And just to celebrate them and the greatness they had, the uncommon greatness they showed, and just show them how important that is and that we want to serve them and show them love. And so that brings us to where we're at now. We had a healthy summer of training. Our young people took advantage of it. Of course, that time is not mandatory. We just know that if they are able to participate in 8% of those workouts, that they're going to be able to ensure that they're going to be ready for the conditioning part and for the effort and energy and a focus part that's required during the next couple weeks of preseason. And so that's why that's important. And we're glad those took those that could took advantage of it. But we also encourage guys to take breaks because we know that when we start this thing off, there's no time for breaks. We're in it. It's pretty important that we're in it. We play a schedule against some teams that have a much larger, student capacity, which means they'll probably have more guys on their sidelines, and that leads into some attrition for us, and that we could sustain injuries, and that we could sustain other issues that puts us at a disadvantage. And so all that conditioning pays off, and of course, the other piece that pays off is getting us ready for those first games, not just on a physical level, but on a mental level and a cultural level. And so we work hard to do that. And so the schedule during the start of preseason up till school is kind of tight, and we need our guys there all the time. There's a acclimatization period that requires our guys to make a certain amount of days in helmets and then a certain amount of days in helmet and shoulder pads before we can get into gear. And that's required for every single athlete, not just at the start. It starts when that person shows up, and that's important. And so we're embedded. And I know for some that might be something that wasn't expected because you know what, we were freshmen, we're coming in, didn't know about this, but we certainly expect it for our sophomores through seniors. We hope that in the next weeks that you guys get school shopping supplies taken care of. We get school clothes shopping taken care of. We certainly have our physical and registration taken care of so that way we're ready to rock on the 10th with no distractions. During that time period, we'll be selling discount cards to raise money, much needed resource for our program. Right now, we've got a really easy fundraiser going on that allows us to sell gear online. All we have to do is just share that on our Facebook pages, Twitter handles, email family, friends. It just gives them a chance to buy some gear. And each unit that we sell allows us the opportunity to earn money back to our program. And of course, there's an incentive set up that I'll be sharing with you all where the kids actually can earn enough units sold to get an Apple Watch and things of that nature. So a really cool thing. Nothing that's over egregious or tough to do, but we encourage them to take advantage of that too because we want those bleachers just completely filled with blue and gold every week we play. And so with that, I want to get into what things look like and what we should be doing right now. We do know that we give out equipment on August 9th because the first practice is August 10th. But before we get into that, anybody who's coming to get equipment must be registered. You'll see in this email, I've shared this email several times this summer, that we have included the registration link and a video from Jason Cranford, our athletic director, on how to properly register. If you've registered for a sport before with your son, you will know that you're already in the system. Do not need to recreate a new ID. That causes a little bit of problems for us. But if you haven't, you need to register and get in there and upload a valid and current physical. Questions always been, well, what's a valid current physical? A valid current physical is a physical that has not expired in 14 months. We try to get into a year-to-year situation where every year we're getting a new physical on the year, but we know that physicals can last for 14 months because your insurances in many cases will not allow you to get another physical within a year. You have to wait a year for your insurance to cover it. It's all good and dandy. I can tell you that from what I've heard from the CVS, Minute Clinics, or the health urgent care places, their time slots for physicals are filling up quickly. And so if your son needs a physical, you need to make a schedule and get it done before August 10th today. We need to get that taken care of. We cannot put you on the field unless you're registered properly. And so when you register, you'll include, of course, all that contact information that's necessary when you register for anything typically, but you'll upload that physical form. And I think there's a couple COVID waiver. I don't know if that still exists on our actual registration, but those things are uploaded as well. And then you will click on football and any other sports that you may or may not think about participating in, but there's maybe a hunch that you could, and certain off-season training as well, because that is something that I do when we're not playing sports. You upload those things, you put them in, and then we're ready to roll. And I'll get that list print off on August 8th when I'm back to school. All right, so that's registration. Equipment issue. Equipment issue will go down. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go to the overall schedule that you guys have so that way you guys can see what this looks like. All right, so right now you can see this is a blown up version of what you guys have had set up for yourselves when I had the summer schedule. We can see all these different icons that represent things. And of course, it's not as intensive as it was before when you're looking at the scope of June, July included. But here we go, equipment issue. An equipment issue right now is the seniors will go 5:30 to 5:50, and then we'll have a 10-minute break to restructure and reformat the room. Juniors will be 6 o'clock to 6:20. Sophomores will be 6:30 to 7. And again, with another 10-minute break, as there has been between each class, freshmen will go 7:10 to 7:40. We have top-of-the-line equipment. You know, we pride ourselves in taking care of our gear. Every school in SMAC does this. But we just ordered 40 brand new helmets. In those helmets, we included some F7s and Speed Flexes again for varsity players that we know are going to be out there playing predominantly, possibly on both sides of the ball. All of our helmets are top shelf. All our helmets are the same helmets used at the collegiate and NFL level. They're reconditioned every year. Some of our helmet line includes personal helmets that kids have bought in the past, and now they've been recirculated through our conditioning process, so they're painted and coated the correct way. Shoulder pads, again, are also taken care of at a high level and reconditioned each year as well. And so that's equipment issue. During that time, you can use our drop ship catalog that we have right now to get things like base level gear, which is that tight gear that you might wear underneath shoulder pads or underneath your pants to help with wicking away sweat. You can get girdles. You can get a set of cleats that's there. That stuff is all allowed to you online through our BSN dropship website. That's a dropship website, which means that you don't have to get it. Nothing's going to be decorated. So when you order it, it'll be drop shipped directly to you, and you can get it before the season starts. In addition to that, when you come, I will have, and I'll be sending out a proper way to pay for it. I will have practice jerseys. I had to order them in advance, so I had to pay for them in advance. They have a number built around the numbers that we have in our program, and they're gold. They'll go with our practice blue pants. But those practice jerseys are going to be bought by you. They'll be yours to keep, and they're going to be about $25. That payment will go back to the program. We'll either set through a Venmo account, you can bring a check or something to that level, and we'll get that payment taken care of as fast as possible. We may make the payment to One Heart Athletics, and then I'll just write a donation back to the school to cover the cost of those practice jerseys. Outside of that, you will have nothing really to buy from us. Again, you will need a practice girdle, 5 or 7 pad. The 7 pad, of course, gives you everything: the knees, the thighs, the hips, the butt, and all the things you need to be ready to go. If you go with the 5, you just get the thigh, you get the hips, you get the butt, and then we will give you the needs to go into your practice pants or your game pants. We'll give you a practice belt. Game cloth will be kept at the school, and each week we will give that out based upon the game. So you don't have to worry about washing it, taking it out. So that's how that's handled. You will need black cleats, preferably all black with some white. If you have white, black, I know it's hard to find cleats right now, that's fine. But because we try to stay as uniform as possible, we don't go with blue, we don't go with gold, we don't go with blue and black and blue. It's a black cleat in any brand or fashion, does not matter. Gloves traditionally are black or blue. Undergarments that go underneath should be one color. No large logos, since we're Under Armour school. No large logos, just black, no stripes. Black's the Under Armour garment, or white. You can get blue if you can find it, but our long compressions that go underneath, the 3/4 compressions that go underneath their pants, should be black or white. Our sleeves or short sleeves should be black, white, or blue. And so that's how that works. Underneath our helmets, sometimes kids like to wear some type of fixture on top of their helmet to keep the sweat out of their eyes. That's fine, but it can't hang out or show. Nothing that they have should have a hood on it. Even when it gets to cold weather times, we do not want them wearing hoodies underneath their helmets because we don't want someone grabbing the back of a hoodie and choking them out. We'll get into more of that as we get closer to the season. So that's equipment. If you bring your own mouthpiece, it's fine. If the kids decide to buy their own chin strap, that's fine, but the chin strap should be white as well. Uh, we'll decal and put all those decals on the kids' helmets prior to our first game. And so that kind of covers equipment. We have coaches that'll be fitting these guys up, making sure they're squared away. We ask that you help us in this process because our equipment manager won't be on deck the first week of practice. And so we don't want kids coming in there and saying, yes, it feels great, and then walking out and coming back the next day and say, well, this doesn't work. Well, can I get a new helmet? Once we start practice, things get pretty intense for the coaches. And our equipment guys are phenomenal, but sometimes they may not always be there at the time that you need a helmet. And we just can't get to it as coaches, and you might miss a practice because of that. So make sure that when they come in, everything's fitted well. Please make sure as they begin to go into the practice schedule that everything you need, you bring every single day. And so that's equipment issue. We get in August 10th. August 10th is the first practice, and you'll see I have listed here the start time, the finish time, what you should bring. In this case, a snack, your helmet, your mouthpiece, practice jersey, shorts, cleats, tennis shoes, writing utensils, and notebook. I want to be clear to address this to make sure that we're all on the same page. Um, I am not a fan of doing anything athletic in Crocs, flip flops, or anything like that. Sliders. You should not be in those when we're doing things in the weight room, when we're doing things on the field, when we're doing walkthroughs. Everything should be in a mindset of training, practicing, playing demeanor. And so we will not play, we will not practice, we will not work out in any of those footwear options. So we need to make sure that we have tennis shoes and cleats. If our athletes feel most comfortable wearing Crocs or sliders to transport or move from the field house to our classrooms when we meet, that's fine. I'm aware that that's probably the best way to keep our feet healthy, keep them allowing them to breathe. But when we step foot in that weight room, we're training. No Crocs, no sliders, no moccasins, no hey dudes. It's athletic footwear that lace up. We step on that field and we are practicing, whether you are actually in practice or if you're injured, you're in that field, we're in a field demeanor, we're wearing our cleats, or we're wearing tennis shoes if we're doing a walkthrough, but whatever, we're in that demeanor. I can't impose that enough. That is so important that we pay attention to that. So they should have a satchel with these things. Bring in a snack allows them to eat a little something while we're in our meeting rooms because we'll start each one of these practices in our meeting rooms. So that means a writing utensil and notebook is dire. Got to have those things. So I'm going to go through this real quick. I'm not going to go through every day, but I'm going to kind of cover things. August 11th is practice 2. You can kind of see that. Practice 12, practice 3. And so then we get to practice 6 and 7, which is now a 2-a-day practice. 2-a-day practices. Again, up here indicated by a gold check. On the 2-a-day practice, we'll have a short practice from 3 to 4:15 with just a helmet on the field where we're kind of going over the install from the day before, polishing, reviewing, maybe doing some special teams. And again, then we'll come back after having a meal inside. Maybe we'll hit the weight room, but then we'll be back on the field from 6:30 to 9. And I know you're at 9 o'clock, it'll be dark by then, and it probably will be, but we'll be doing our conditioning at that point, possibly on the game field, ensuring that we're getting our conditioning in. All right, so that's what it is. When I say 6:30 to 9, that is a start point and that is an end point. So when you see these start and end points, this is when we're on the field or we're in the classroom, we're rolling. So in the case that we're starting in the classroom, 4:30, we're starting in the classroom. I've told the kids that if they show up 15 minutes early, they're on time. If they show up on the time that we have, they're late. And so we need to make sure that they're on time because we're not slowing down. Our schedule is tight in what we're trying to cover to get these guys ready to go. And so you can see how that schedule continues. I've bolted out the 2-a-day practices. And then, of course, we lead up to the scrimmage where we're going to first go to our first scrimmage down Chopticon. The time to be determined. Traditionally, we've had this scrimmage at our school. We go with both blue and gold teams at the same time in 2 different directions. During that time, we may move players from one field to the next. But because we're a 2-platoon coaching staff, which means we have a coaching staff that works only with offense, a coaching staff that works only with defense, we will have those staffs separated, and then it will flip, making sure that they coach the gold and the blue team. All right, so then we come back to practice 11 on Saturday. You can see that. Practice August 22nd is another 2-a-day. August 24th is another 2-a-day. Cool thing about August 23rd is that practice 14 is going to be an away inter-squad practice for both the blue and gold team with Leonardtown. That'll be a lot of fun. We'll be down that way. Again, the exact time is still be determined. It's 4 to 9 is that window. And then, of course, we have home scrimmages for both the blue and gold. Traditionally, this scrimmage is done like with a 5 o'clock start for the JV, our blue gold team, a 7 o'clock start for the blue team, and that's against North Point at home. And so, again, that window is not quite determined. We have practice 15, practice 16, and practice 16 would be that first practice before we start school. And then down here, you'll see our game schedule that you guys can kind of look at because I sent that to you guys as well. This game schedule is a schedule set to the varsity, the gold team, which is the lower level guys, the guys who are in that freshman and sophomore mode. Those cats will be playing traditionally on Thursdays. There's a Saturday game here and there possibly. All right, so that's that schedule. And so I want to kind of make sure that we were all good to go with that. And want to kind of lay out the fact that that practice schedule is loaded with workout times, film sessions, time with our leadership council. That's going to be time with our character development program. There's going to be eating and bonding involved. That's going to include practice with helmets, full gear practice. You can see all that. It's a schedule that's very, very intense, but designed to develop a culture that inhibits uncommon greatness, not just on the field, but off. You heard me mention that there are some particulars in our program that people aren't quite used to in other programs. Not to say that any program is wrong or that we're better, but this is what we do. So we're going to be embedded as one program, Calvert football, and eventually we'll get to where we have a traditional gold and blue squad versus a JV and varsity squad. Reason being is our blue squad is the team or players that may play on Fridays, and our gold squad is going to be the team of players who are the next man up who play on Thursdays. And so that's the way we look at it. We don't call them JV and varsity because we don't have a JV and varsity coaching staff. During any practice, you'll see that there's going to be a team over there working with a particular coaching staff and a team over here working with a particular coaching staff. And it could be that the gold teams work with the offensive guys and the blue teams work with defensive guys. And then when midway through practice or the next day, we may switch the fields, and all of a sudden now the gold team is working with the other side of the ball, the same coaches that work with the blue team. And that reason for doing that is to ensure that one, we can develop younger coaches, and now we can have more eyes on the ball. Instead of having one inside linebacker coach, we may have two. Instead of having, one offensive line coach, we may have three. And so there's more eyes, more attention to detail, more coaching. We can grow those younger coaches in with us, and we can ensure that a bond is being filled with our players because they're going to see the same coach that they've seen this summer, that they've seen this spring, that they see all year long, and they see each season for the next 4 years. We think that's a pretty invaluable thing, and so we pride ourselves in doing that. And so that's a unique thing. We're going to get into some other unique things, not going to cover them deeply, but right now what I want to do is try to highlight some things in which you guys can kind of plug in. There's needs in our program. Right now we're working closely with Felsh Christian athletes. Brad Chris, who served during our camp this recent camp we had for the youth in our area, is going to help facilitate gathering churches that may help with meals. Not to take away from some of the ladies that have constantly worked hard to provide the pregame meals. We're talking about providing maybe some substances as far as getting the food from BJ's or preparing it and maybe helping with serving. But our coordination ladies that take care of that have done a phenomenal job, and we look forward to them helping us in the future. But we're always open to having more folks help us out with that, be it maybe cooking or maybe it's just serving. Or maybe it's preparing what we do for the JV or the gold team on Thursday nights. We need help with the pregame meals. It's a way for you to plug in, get around our kids, see how great they are as they prepare for a game, and love on them as only you can. And maybe that's a great place for you to fit. We need chain crew. We're always good about getting the chain crew for varsity game nights, but we need one for the JV as well. So if you have interest in being a chain member, a person who helps with the chains, we generally need 3. 4 would be nice because we have an alternative. And that way we could have one for both the JV and varsity games. It would be awesome. That would be great. I don't always enjoy holding the chain at home when I'm the coach because I'd rather sit back and really analyze and watch the kids. But of course, I'm not above doing that, and I've done that many times in the past. It's a great way for parents to get on the sidelines, hear our coaches, hear how we're interacting, see their kids up close and personal without that responsibility of saying, you should be doing this or shouldn't be doing that, or calling this player that. The video crew. Video crew is important. We've got an outside patron who helps us out, does a great job. Bill Ellison has done the filming. He's so attentive to what we need to make sure that happens for the blue team. He's not going to be able to be around all the time. I think I've got a guy that can help, but the more the merrier to help out with that, the better. There's several components that go into the blue game video. We've got 3 different angles, which requires somebody. We have up top filming, of course, someone doing the end zone, and then someone controlling the tablet for when we push and click to make sure we're recording. So that way the download information on the sidelines happens for us on our iPad so we can have instant replay access. It's not extensive on goal games, but again, during goal games, we always seem to have a problem finding someone who wants to hold a camera and film for us. And for us to get good film quality to make sure that we can coach our kids up, we don't want a player or a manager doing that. Homecoming game, youth night, senior night. These are 3 games in which there's some festive things that occur. Sometimes we can have some parents step up and help with that. That'd be awesome. Let me know. Email me if you're interested in helping there. And then the banquet. The banquet is just a huge, huge event in which we celebrate our seniors the correct way and we honor the program. It's just a wonderful, wonderful culmination to a great season. If you're interested in helping in that, we'd love to have you as well. And so with all that, those are the bare essentials as we start this thing off. I want you to know that I'm always available. I can tell you that I will set up times to meet with you if you have questions. Our practices are wide open. And so if you're out there and would like to come watch, that's fine. We've moved our practice location to behind the practice or the visitor bleachers of the stadium. That's where we'll be now. So you'll be able to see everybody working in their own elements because we'll all be asphyxiated in one location. But I have no problem conversating and catching up with parents when it comes down to the questions or concerns. You have my phone number. Please feel free to call me, email me. I will say that after games, traditionally that's not the best time to reach out to a coach. Give a 24-hour window to kind of allow things to breathe before you kind of contact the coach. We always, always love hearing, positive feedback. but we understand sometimes in the midst of us working, there's going to be confusion and misunderstandings on why we do things or what's being done. We do hope and we expect players to advocate themselves. We work hard to try and develop a rapport with our kids that they can trust us enough to ask questions. All right. We want those kids to ask questions, learn, and if in the case they have questions about where they are on a depth chart, we expect them to advocate themselves. And when we have meetings about playing time or about where they may be on a depth chart or what their future may look like, we will have no problem meeting with them and a parent if you so desire to do so, so that way we're all on the same page. We feel like that's important to make sure that we are all moving in the same direction because we need you to not only be a fan, but be a part of this team. And with that, I love you all. I appreciate the opportunity and the blessing to work with you all. I know this is a long video, but a lot of information has been covered. I look forward to working with you. Please pay attention to emails and videos coming out in the future. I can't wait to get it going. I'm out. Boom.